Just want to double check, make sure that my mic is actually working here today. Hey, everybody, welcome on TikTok. Good to see you guys. If you guys could give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me. All right, that would be helpful. Before we go ahead and get started, I am taking your love and relationship questions, so you can go ahead and start posting them. These questions don't have to just be romantic. It can be on any type of relationship. I don't know, maybe you think you had a past life with your cat. Maybe you're having trouble with a coworker or your boss, or you're not sure about a relationship with a sibling or your mom or something like that. Like anything goes. All right, very good. So I'm getting a thumbs up here on YouTube that you guys can hear me and see me all right. So welcome everyone on YouTube, Facebook. Good to see you guys. I'll reiterate what I was just saying to TikTok. Tonight, I am taking love and relationship questions. Any question goes. It does not have to be romantic. So go ahead and post them now. $5 gets you the short answer. $10 gets you the long answer. I'm going to make a couple quick announcements while I let people tune in here. We do have coming up a little bit of a change with this show. So Get a Grip is going to switch into a new topic. I do this every other Wednesday. So not this upcoming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, we're going to be doing Get a Grip on your money, business, and investments. So I'll be taking all money questions, all financial questions, all career and work questions. We also have coming up myself and Christina Del Rey, our astrologer, another Get a Grip Love show here in, let's see, when is that going to be? So we'll be doing one more show on love with Christina Del Rey, our astrologer. That's going to be January 15th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, back here on all of these platforms. So check it out. I also, our Psychic Mediumship course, okay, that's beginning. If you didn't already get yourself registered for that and you wanted to join with the actual group, this is the last call on getting in for the Psychic Mediumship course. Now, if you don't care, if you don't want to take the course with a group of people, you just want to do your own thing, you're perfectly welcome to do that. So Psychic Mediumship course is now 100% evergreen, which means you can join anytime. And if you did want to take the course with the group, you're going to go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com. Same thing for evergreen, but there's also a raffle running, and this is the last call on the raffle. So $2,100 value if you wanted to enter to be able to win a free course with the group. You're going to want to go ahead and do that now. Again, that's going to be up on the website above or below, depending on where you guys are tuning in. So check out Ivy Rivera psychicmedium.com. All right, looks like we have some questions coming in. Just going to reiterate for you guys tuning in, this is Get a Grip on your love life and relationships. If you have any type of relationship question whatsoever, you can go ahead and post that below. I'm taking donations through, I believe it's Venmo, Cash App. That's up in the description, as well as on YouTube. So if you switch over to YouTube, it may just be easier to do that because you can do everything in one spot. So $5 is the short answer. $10 is the longer answer to your question. What else do we have coming up? I am on tour, so I'm leaving. I will be out on the road, taking Spirit to the streets. That's going to be January 19th through the 31st, possibly longer. So if you're in Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, especially Naples and the surrounding areas, and Georgia, I'll be out that way. So if you want to book me for a gig, go ahead onto my website and message that you want to set something up, and I will see you there. All right, looks like we have a few people tuned in here and some questions ready to go. So let's go ahead and get started. Jill, my beautiful producer, will be taking your questions. Please make sure that you include the first name of anyone that you're referring to, even if you're wanting to use a pseudonym. It's going to help me to jump into that energy. Jill, who do we want to start with? All right, so we have a question here from an Edgar V. $10 question. He wants to know, could I please get a friendship prediction for 2023? Okay, thank you. So just a general question on friendships for Edgar in 2023. I actually feel one really strong individual coming in. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to have a bunch of friends, but we may be sort of demoting some people, keeping them more in a position of acquaintance, and we may be elevating two others. And with these two that you elevate, I really feel like you're putting them in a position where you feel you can trust what you say to them. So here's a good example. One feels more masculine, one feels more feminine. And so I don't want to attach gender to it, but that's how I sense these two. And I want to say that with both of them, you feel that whatever it is you confide in them, it's going to stay with them. So I like that a lot. You basically notice that you have two people around you you feel very free to flow with. You can discuss anything. Mostly what you're going to be doing with these two is processing what it is that you're feeling and what it is that you're thinking. And what it is that you're thinking has a lot to do with plans and changes that you want to make in your life, to your environment, with work, okay, especially, possibly even with residency. And I like that. I like knowing that when you talk to these people, it's going to stay right there. I think part of it too is that you're feeling very much so that they're not judging you. And when you can discuss and just sort of run at the mouth with whatever it is that you're feeling or thinking, and know that the other person isn't going to judge you in any type of critical way, but will be constructive in any type of advice or guidance that they may give. I mean, that's invaluable. All right. So I like that. What I really see though is one person in particular coming in here with you in 2023 who seems to have an ability to mentor over you. And I'm not saying this person is older than you per se, but their energy definitely seems to be older in the way that these different areas of your life that you're trying to grow in. Let's say you're trying to reach a level of completion. You're trying to increase your security in life in particular. I think this individual has already accomplished those things, maybe several times over. And so this person is able to say to you, here's what you need to focus on, or here's what you need to get rid of, or here's what you need to do in order to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. And the nature of the relationship is so comfortable. This person doesn't expect anything in return. It's a nice balance and reciprocity. So I think that while you may see this person just as a friend, the fact that they also bring in this sort of mentoring energy is of incredible value to you for where you're headed over the course of the next year to a year and a half. I also think that what you're able to give this person back in return is a genuine friendship, because you are able to feel what this person is feeling and even telepathically pick up on where they are. And sometimes when we have someone in our life who can know us without us having to say it, it means so much. And that's just where this person is. This person's always helping everybody else, and maybe no one ever shows up for them, and you show up. Relationships look absolutely beautiful for you, not like tons and tons and tons of people per se that you would consider special, but definitely a small handful. And that is worth gold. My grandfather used to say, if you have one true friend, that's worth more than gold. Okay. And you're going to have several. All right. Enjoy your year, Edgar. Want to just announce before we move on to the next question here, for you guys tuning in, this is Get a Grip on Your Love Life and Relationships. Your questions don't have to be about love, but they do tend to focus there romantically. They could be on any type of relationship. $5 gets you the short answer. $10 gets you the long answer. And I will be answering these through Psychic Mediumship. All right, we are going to move on to our next question here from Maria Jarwis. Sorry, I'm going to massacre that. Let's just skip the last name. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, am I meant to be with the guy I'm dating at the moment? He's very work focused, but he seems very no nonsense. Okay. Again, you guys, you need to include names of who you're referring to. All right. Because if you have 55 love partners over the course of your life, the energy is going to tend to go to whoever's most important, not necessarily the person you're talking to at the moment. Okay. So I need names because I have to move on to other people quickly. All right. It speeds up the process. Let me hone in on what I do have with him though. Okay. He's work focused. He seems very no nonsense. Is she meant to be with him? You know, what I'm feeling with this is that I'm hearing that's not the case. So it's almost as though your perception may be a little bit off. And I think the area where it's off is that he's work focused. It's more like, what is he distracting from? All right. So sometimes when we're dealing with someone who seems to be like a little bit of a workaholic, or they tend to be just incredibly driven in different areas of their life, we can give them credit there when in actuality, there's something they're trying to hide from. So when we talk about avoidant or escapist personality types, we want to look at different ways that they may do that. Porn addiction, video game playing, overeating, excessive working out. Okay. Anyone know anyone? Have you ever dated anyone who like goes to the gym like, 3 times a day or whatever? It's all it's like their whole identity. Obsession with sports. Okay. People head to toe in, Buffalo Bills gear, and they just don't have like anything beyond that, like no personality beyond that. Workaholism, again, focus so much on money, focus so much on the career, focus so much on the next level up with that job. What we can see here is that it is a tendency to escape reality, and the reality that's sort of barreling down upon this individual is that there's a bit of a time crunch and a deadline, what I would call a pivotal point, on some shadow work that needs to be done, some childhood trauma, some parentification, some toxic programming from his past, probably even spillover from past lives. But we don't have to go there today. What this means when we hit a pivotal point like this is that skeletons in the closet, unfinished business, stuff swept under the carpet, things put up on a shelf collecting dust are coming to a head. It's going to happen in this person's life in every single area. It's health, it's finances, it's travel, it's mental, it's emotional, it's romantic, enters you, okay, to the scene. And your job, let's say at that time, is not necessarily to want a commitment or try to create something out of this relationship that isn't naturally flowing, but you're more the word of wisdom. You're sort of the beacon of light. You're the lighthouse in the storm that says, let's get comfortable with the discomfort of processing who we are, or what we're dealing with in life, or what we're trying not to deal with in life, shall we? Like, let's be real with each other. And so I would say that having less of a focus on this relationship in regards to whether or not you two are meant to be together in like a commitment or something long term or romantic partnership, I would just say that this relationship was meant to come together for growth opportunity. And it's best to always focus on whatever's within that contract. And if there's a romantic element, awesome. If it's hot, that's great. But I would not expect it to be super long term, because you're looking for something a little bit higher level than this. So just keep your options open. All right, we are going to move on to another question here from... Right. Again, you guys, post your love and relationship questions now. We have one from a Christina. This is a $10 question. All right. Christina wants to know, okay, Kylie is going through a breakup and a broken heart. Will they have, okay. Will she have a love interest? So Kylie going through a breakup and a broken heart. Will she have a love interest? You know, what I feel is that she's really supposed to be clearing out her throat chakra right now. So sometimes when we go through something like a breakup or a disappointment in love, we don't necessarily see that we are able to fully understand what happened or why we're feeling some of the feelings we're having without talking about it out loud. And some people tend to have this just more in their astrology, even where through communication they process what they're actually going through. If there's ever been a time in your life where you're just talking out loud and all of a sudden, you know, you start to see the bigger picture, you start to move in a more positive direction, you feel healing through that experience, but you didn't necessarily even want to talk about it, you know, because you didn't know what you were trying to say or what you're thinking. And so I think she needs to be doing more of that processing. I think that she also is learning to accept that feelings can seem irrational, that feelings aren't necessarily going to match logic, that feelings aren't going to match your gut instinct. Maybe, you know, in her gut and in her heart, she knows that relationship wasn't working, but, you know, it really doesn't match what she's feeling, which is that she still wishes there were aspects of it. I think it would also help for her to process what it is that she enjoyed so much about the relationship. Did it make her feel good? Did it raise her self-esteem? You know, did it excite her in some way? Did she see something in this other person that she could sort of like build with? You know, what were the positive aspects, because now she knows to roll that into the next relationship and say, this is a standard I now have. I expect to get this out of a new partnership. And also, for that matter, what wasn't working. Okay, so she may be putting this a bit up on a pedestal. As far as somebody new coming in, I do feel like there may be someone new who seems a little bit immature, um, possibly, you know, her age, but maybe like seems like they're a year younger or even 2 years younger. They may also be a little bit immature in like their sexuality or their understanding about um you know, where they lie with sexual preferences, you know, just sort of like sampling it out. You know, sometimes we don't know, like, are we gay? Are we bi? Are we, you know, sometimes we just don't know. I get a sense of exploration with this person. I also feel like that may be a big component of the relationship itself. And so, like, Kylie may be able to sort of support her in this. And, I feel that this person can also bring in a bit of rebellion against the system, which is interesting. I think it brings with it some excitement and fun and new adventure. And I could see it lasting a fairly long time, like anywhere from like 9 months to about a year, you know? So, yes, absolutely. And this person may be crossing paths with her through school, I think, or through like a school function of some kind. So, even if they bring in, like, say they have a school dance and they bring in other people from other schools, it could even happen through something like that. All right. Thank you so much for that question. We are going to move on to another question here from Jill. And I'm assuming this is a $10 question. 54.58. All right. So we have a question here from Jill. Will my mom, okay, JA, ever stop trying to put me in the middle of our arguments with my dad? SA. She always tries to, okay, threaten to move in with me when they argue. Okay, so for Jill, will mom ever stop putting you in the middle of, okay, arguments with dad? No, I don't think so. And I think you have enough of a pattern here to know. There's some talk of 3 years ago. So something would have happened approximately 3 years ago that would have shown you very clearly where it is that they both are mentally and how it is that they function with one another. Or we would say in this case, are dysfunctional. And the word dysfunctional comes up over here to the future, okay, which is significant in where it's headed. I think that there are greater depths and levels of dysfunction to come to the future. And of course, I can't prescribe or diagnose, and everybody has free will. And so at any time, this could change. But I think that the highest likelihood here most certainly is that. By well over 90%. Okay. That all you're going to see in the future is more of the same pattern that you've seen in the past, and possibly additional deterioration of the relationship and the inability to handle the relationship in a productive way. What I find interesting about this, and what Spirit's pointing out specifically, and this is coming from your relationship guide as well as a grandmother on mom's side of the family, is that mom should have left a long time ago, possibly even like 15 years ago or 25 years ago. But in particular, there was an incident 5 years ago and 8 years ago that kept reoccurring. That was a strong sign to her that she needed to leave this type of toxic environment. And when something like this happens, what that can mean is that the universal support of such a thing is on a deadline. And so if there is a deadline where, let's say, mom went through a test and she did not make the changes she was supposed to make at that time, the universe takes their hands off of everything. So your ancestors, your guides, your loved ones, it's basically like at that point, you're on your own. And the time is up for you to have made the changes you should have. So there can be some pretty harsh repercussions. I call it karmic kickback for something like that. And that may be where mom's trying to rope you in. Mom's trying to suck your energy out. She's sort of siphoning you and putting you in the middle of it because she's looking for the universe to come and rescue her. And she no longer has universal support because she's had more than enough time, information, and access to help to make the decisions that she was supposed to make, and she chose incorrectly. Okay, so no, it's never going to stop. As far as your role in it is concerned, I think it's really a significant time for you because you also seem to be in a very similar testing period. And so you've got about 6 months left on a 1-year testing period where you're going to have to prove within the next 6 months that you've learned your lessons, or you're also going to see karmic kickback. So don't let someone else's problems become your own. I don't care if this is your child. I don't care if this is a parent, if this is a spouse. Never, ever. Okay, do we take on someone else's baggage? And that's what you're at risk of doing right now if you placate into this at all. Okay, so just be mindful. All right, thank you so much for that question, Jill. We have another question coming in here from Maraid. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, will my boyfriend Paul and I get engaged later this year? I think that you will. And I don't even know if it's going to take that. I don't know what you consider later this year. Maybe you're thinking more November, but I'm seeing June or July. And there seems to be a beach coming up. So let's just say, and I don't want to ruin it. Watch me out everything he's planning on doing here. But whatever. Okay, so it'll be fun, right? So I think that you have something coming up, whether this is a cruise, or this is a trip to Jamaica, or this is even Florida, but I see the beach. So I see more tropical weather. And I think that this could very well sort of come up out of the sand. I almost feel like a ring, coming up out of the sand in some way, and him on one knee. And so this is a beautiful time, not only because of the atmosphere and the fact that you guys have put everything away. So I would say that any trips that you have where you're putting everything away, you're saying literally, I'm not bringing work on this trip. That's not happening. You close the computer, you put it away. You guys are spending some time out in nature. Obviously, water represents nature. It is an opportunity for you two to really connect in a different way than what you have. Possibly on other vacations or on different trips or times that you've taken, maybe other people have been involved. So whether you take a trip and there's a lot of family around or whatever it is, it's a holiday, that doesn't really count. And there's something about his personality that just tells me that he wants this to be intimately just the two of you, not work, not family, not friends. It's like you, spirit, nature, and each other's souls involved. And so I would be watching for any of those trips that may be planned or even unplanned that come up spur of the moment. But I understand what you're looking at later in the year. There does seem to be some activity later October, certainly in November. And I think that is sort of the backup plan. I think it could also happen around that time. So 100%, it does look like you're going to have a proposal coming in here. And I think that after this proposal, things may actually move very, very quickly for you guys. So if there was already a general plan on how a wedding may play out, that could happen within, I want to say, 3 to 6 months. There could also be some stalling out here on your behalf. And so if you were to say, well, let's give it an extra year, let's give it an extra 2 years or whatever, if we really want to like save up money or be at this specific venue or this, that, and the other. And I just want to say that on that note, it's really important with this relationship not to overcomplicate things and drag it out. Be in the moment and do whatever's going to be most fun and exciting for you guys. Okay. So if you just feel like you want to, just because you want to, go ahead and do it that way. Bring your style into it instead of practicality. Okay. I think that's probably what he's going to be doing also. Yeah, I feel like congratulations is in order here. Very exciting. All right. Enjoy the time. We have another question coming in here. All right. So I do want to, if you guys have not already, welcome everyone. Okay. So I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium. This is Get a Grip on Your Love Life and Relationships. I am taking any type of relationship questions. It does not have to be exclusively on romance. So welcome on YouTube, welcome on TikTok, welcome on Facebook. $5 gets you the short answer, $10 gets you the longer answer, and you can see where you need to leave that donation above or below in the description box. Now, if you are on YouTube, you can do it right here on YouTube. Also, I forgot to ask you guys, please, everybody at this time, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm. All right, so we are going to move on to another question here from a Jan. This is a $10 question. And Jan wants to know, will I find a love connection somewhere here in the Georgia area? Jan and Georgia. It's funny because I feel someone over here to the west, southwest. I see water, not too far away. And this person is leaving a residency, like they're unloading a property, like they're selling something off, maybe something they inherited they no longer want. It's like this house doesn't fit me anymore. I do wonder if this person is maybe widowed. It does feel like somebody passed away connected to this property. This person wants to get free and clear. And when we see this type of movement, one of the things that we could see is I want to say sort of a sense of adventure, so this goes way beyond just leaving a property behind, because a lot of people will lose a spouse, or they hoard things. And this person has a very youthful spirit, even if maybe, let's say they're a little bit older than you, or they're a little bit older than what you prefer to date. And I think that means everything in this situation. I see this person wanting to come to you, but even though they're willing to, come to where you are, and they're reaching out and quite actively trying to make that happen, they also really seem to have other business going on in sort of a linear, path from where you are. So possibly to the west of where you are, and even to the north a little bit. And so they may be like visiting other people, or saying like, well, I kind of have to go that way anyway, so let's meet up. And this individual may be willing to drive out of their way anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 hours to meet up with you. And I think that says a lot. Okay. I think that you could be looking at 2 different people here. So I do see one looks Caucasian. I want to say gray hair, like white hair, like quite literally it's white. So white hair, kind of a bigger build in through the chest, longer arms, and like big hands, like long fingers. This person would be mechanically inclined, the engineer's mind, good at building things, good at fixing things, probably ran a business. Then I see a black man, and I want to say gray hair in the front, still pretty like dark in the back. Nice lips on him, a nice jawline, also bigger hands, but a little bit wider, 6'2". Comes through wearing a plaid shirt, which means that he may wear plaid shirts. It can also mean that he's very down to earth. That's my symbol for someone who is not only down to earth, but somebody who is also very good with business. So they both seem to have some similarities here in that they're either like they ran businesses, they sold their businesses off, they retired from running a business. And I think that we're getting similar energy from him as well, being willing to come to where you are or meet up halfway. Okay. So, but this seems more in the mountains, and possibly also he travels through Savannah. So, yeah, lots of options here. Very interesting. Well, 2 that are worth it. Lots of options, 2 that are worth it. All right. So you're either going to be leaning more toward, you know, this very tall black gentleman, or you're going to be, they look so different. It's kind of comical to me. It's adorable, you know, or this white guy with white hair, and their personalities are very similar, very sweet, both of them. All right. So good luck with that, Jan. Susanna Cruz, we have won. This is a $5 question. Okay. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Susanna. I am currently in a useless relationship, but I'm not looking for anyone at the moment. Okay, but am I going to be in a healthier relationship? Okay, so let's see what I'm getting with this. Are you going to be in a healthier relationship? You know, I feel like the key for you for the next 2 years is going to be exactly what you said, which is basically that you're not looking. You know, you're not looking, but you're open. So let's say that you're considering getting on dating apps. First thing, get this other person out of your house. So whether this is now, your house can also symbolize your head. It can symbolize your soul. It can symbolize your energy. Okay. It can symbolize like physically. Okay. No more interaction with this person. You're going to have to clear this out entirely in order to be able to attract a higher vibration, because he sort of pollutes your vibe in general, top to tail, going downhill. I think that it's not just about even like the interaction, you know, between the 2 of you, but it's like objects. So it's really important to understand how atmospheres, objects hold energy. And it almost seems like your space is polluted with objects from this person. And so you're going to want to, do some cleansing here. But ultimately, I think that getting rid of that and then moving forward, the next 2 years looks like up, 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 up she goes. And I think what's really interesting about this is that you're sort of attracting at every new level a new type of character. So, you know, I recently heard one of my, there's this tarot reader I watch, Son of Celine. Yeah, I think he's an astrologer too. And I don't know, I just think he's amazing. And he said something recently to me that like really caught my ear, because I totally believe this, but I've never put it into words before. He said something like, we all think we have one type, or maybe that we have 2 types, but we actually have like 5 or 6. And that is proven in the astrology. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fall down a rabbit hole with this. That seems like so accurate. And it's funny because I don't know if you haven't explored much in your past, or if you really, you know, sort of subscribe to that concept that like, I have a type, where you kept going back to the same type of person over and over again. And now it's like you're sampling everything. Okay. All 6 of your types. And ultimately, I think that you could be meeting someone between the 2nd and 3rd year out from now. Now you have free will, so you can manipulate timelines. So can he, and this can move up closer. It's possible. It could also move back, but I'm doubting that highly. But 2 to 3 years or sooner, it seems like you could be finding someone between your 5th type and your 6th type, where you're like, this is a bingo, like this is the best one. And this person is looking for long-term commitment with you. And I think that you guys could make something very special out of this. All right, we are going to move on. We have another question coming in here from a Claudia. This is a $10 question. And Claudia wants to know, am I making the right decision by moving out and leaving my family? Okay, let me see. So Claudia, are you making the right decision? Well, I think so. The way this energy feels is extremely suffocating. It feels very heavy. And it feels also like it's building in the neck, the shoulders, the upper back. I can't prescribe a diagnose, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're having some type of even like back, neck, or head issues, or something like headaches, migraines, possibly even sinus problems, or like slip discs, because it's like this much accumulation of energy from the stress of the surroundings, from the stress of overabsorption from their energy, and the way the dynamics just are not elevating. They just are not working out. There's no progression here in dealing with them. It's being like a hamster on a wheel with bricks on your back. You can't just keep on like that. And so, yeah, I feel that what's really important to focus on in this situation too is not just sort of physically, elevating your energy level and getting some healing and improvements there, but it's allowing room for growth. And in a situation like this, it may be easier for you to evaluate your position with everybody by saying, you know what, if you love them, let them go. Or sometimes if you love them, you do need to remove yourself from the situation and kind of let your own self go. Sometimes when everyone's been together way too much, it becomes a codependent situation. It becomes sickly, right? And it's preventing any kind of evolution. So no one's healing, no one's growing, no one's learning anything new. Everyone is just looking to the other people around them to either feed their false narrative and or supply them with whatever it is that they need. And it's like it's kind of like a power grab, really, and it's unhealthy. So by you creating the space for everybody to do some growth, to do some learning and evolution, it is the most loving thing that you can do. What's going to be really important going forward, and this is coming from your joy guide, this is also coming from your relationship and protector guide, I think that the focus on you is going to be key, because leaving a situation does not necessarily equate to you disconnecting from the aspects of the relationship that were toxic, unhealthy, draining. And it's important for you to focus more on your own self. So you may have to set up, boundaries and really detach. Pay attention to what you're feeding in conversation or responding. Your time, attention, affection, and energy going forward needs to be put back onto yourself in a significant way. And this could take about a year to a year and 7 months before you really start to feel as though you understand why it had to be that way. Okay. And I would definitely not stall out. If you were thinking of stalling out for like another 3 months or so, I feel like be careful with that, because karmic kickback is certainly on the way. Okay. All right. We have another one coming in here from Aditi. This is a $10 question. And Dee Dee wants to know, have I met my next long-term partner in love? Okay, has Dee Dee met her next long-term partner in love? No. This is going to be about anywhere from a year and 3 months to a year and 5 months out from now, where you guys may cross paths at about 7 months out from now, between the 7th and the 8th month, but you may not really do much with it until about that time. So about a year and 3 months to a year and a half. And I think that what's going on with this person is that for a while, they may be very tied up in their own clearing out of a previous love partner. They may be doing some spiritual development and self-healing in regards to their childhood or generational curses. No, I don't believe in generational curses, but I absolutely believe in psychological dysfunction that gets handed down from generation to generation. So this person's clearing some of that out, possibly going to therapy. That's awesome. If you can have someone cross your path who already went to therapy, that's gold, because if they start doing that while you're together, expect a long period of delay, or like you can't be together during that time. All right. So this person may have already been going to therapy by the time you come together. These are all factors that have to get worked out right now. So what we say here in love is that there's a possibility for the two of you to come together at that time and to make something really valuable of the relationship. However, if either of you are not doing what you're supposed to do in the meantime, it will botch it. So it may not happen. I think that's highly unlikely in this case. This person seems to be incredibly motivated to learn more. I see this individual as being like a sponge. And so if you've dated some people, or you've had relationships where you're kind of like always with a dud, just someone who's kind of empty, they have no personality, they have no drive, they have no thirst to learn and grow and evolve and see things from other people's perspectives. If that's the type of person you've always been with, like couch person, you may be really drawn to this individual, for the most part, because they're like a sponge, just taking all types of information in a non-judgmental way and saying, how can I use this? Not making everything into a black or white situation, but just seeing many shades of gray and being more curious about life than anything. And I think that when the two of you get together, it's going to also be important that you let go of any issues that you have from the past in regards to trust. So we want to be careful that when we're dealing with someone new, yes, we want to watch their behavior. Yes, if we see any red flags that remind you exactly of something you've learned to avoid in the past, okay, that's fine. But also let go of some trust issues so you're not overdoing it, okay? And like excessively analyzing. If you feel it's okay and it's safe, then that particular area is okay and safe. And that's all there is to it, okay? Let it go. Don't get caught up in cyclical patterns of thought. This looks very interesting. All right, we're going to move on to another question here from Mel Hogan. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, what's happening with my marriage? Okay, again, I don't have a name for this person. That's okay. I could just jump in. You guys, please include first names. If you want to use a pseudonym, that's fine. Okay, what is happening? What's happening with my marriage? All right. Well, I could go in a million different directions. I feel like what you're really asking is about what almost seems like, I almost want to say you guys feel like you hit the skids. It's like hitting a big rock in the middle of the road is what I'm seeing. This is how your guides are showing it to me. And it's almost like you got a flat tire. Okay. So it's like, oh my God, what could have just been a little derailment has turned into this much bigger issue. Now we're like stalled on the side of the road, and I'm like waiting on AAA or whatever. Because neither of us knows how to fix a flat tire or something like this. Now, when I see a scenario like this, what are we talking about? We're talking about a long-term problem. We're talking about a situation that's certainly been here for a while and it finally hit. Okay. So it's like hitting a brick wall or hitting rock bottom, hitting a pivotal point. Now, what this means is that a lot of things are going to come up to the surface simultaneously. Skeletons in the closet, unfinished business, stuff swept under the carpet, things that have been put up on a shelf collecting dust. In particular, that one point comes up for the two of you, and in particular with your partner. So if we were to say that there are some things that your partner hasn't been dealing with, just putting it up on a shelf, just letting it collect dust, just not dealing with it. When you get into a marriage with that person, that becomes your baggage. And so when your partner's stuff starts coming up to the surface to be dealt with, guess what? You're going to have to be present for that stuff to be dealt with. I think that you have more tools than your partner does. So when we look at this car symbolically, when we look at this flat tire, you have a way in life of being like, all right, maybe I have never changed a flat tire. Where's the manual? There has to be a manual in here. Or like, I'm going to YouTube it, or like, I can do this because I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to figure out how to do this, right? Fixing things is not necessarily rocket science. It takes patience. It requires perseverance. It requires a willingness to learn and grow and expand a little bit, but it isn't undoable. Neither is this situation. And so I think that where you guys are headed, it's going to require a certain amount of patience from you, yes, and a willingness from your partner to deal with all of the things that haven't been dealt with. I also feel like one of the things that may be happening with you personally, and this is going forward for the next couple years, but pretty intensely for the next like 4 to 6, maybe even into the 7th month, is that you may be looking at what it is that you're missing in love. And sometimes that's a little scary, right? So when we look at our love partner and we're like, uh-oh, there are some gaps here. Like there are things I'm not getting. And it's like, you have to sort of look back at the contract and you have to say, did I agree to be with this person and they were going to deliver A, B, C, and D? And now I realize there's like E, F, G, and A. Like, what now? What do I do to get these needs met? So I want to say that as you're looking forward and you're understanding that some things were not what how you had originally perceived the relationship dynamics to be, especially in regards to you being supported. You're feeling less supported than what you thought you were going to be. And you may have attraction and want to receive other things that you hadn't originally realized. That's okay. That's growth. Okay. You're a human being. You're growing. You're understanding more about yourself. But we are going to have to come back sort of to the drawing board. I like to say that relationships should be treated like business contracts. You know what you know at the time for what you need, right? So you say, I need A, B, C, and D. I need it by this amount of time, and if the other person can deliver, great, we've got something to work with. And if they can't, then you have to either renegotiate or, figure out what you want to do about that. Okay, to get those needs met. It's going to be an interesting time, but I feel you both being pretty willing to, ride this out for a while and see what's going on. So that's good. All right, we have another question coming in here from Aditi. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, would George and I be able to have a future? Okay, so can Dee and George, will you be able to have a future? George seems really detached in the way that he doesn't necessarily offer a whole lot. You may have ideas about what you want, how you want to receive it, what you want to build, how you guys could even go about building it. It's like you see everything in terms of, this is what I want to have. This is what I enjoy. This is what I want the future to look like. This is what I want to create. And you see exactly how he could plug into all of that. But on George's end, there's sort of nothing there. There's kind of none of this thought going on. There's not really any of this planning going on. I think that if you were to say to him, this is what I want us to be, and this is what I see, here's how I want you to contribute, he may be willing to do that a fairly good portion of the time, not without instruction, of course, but with it, a fairly good portion of the time, he may be able to do it. My concern with this is that he doesn't seem passionately driven toward or truthfully, as involved, invested in the way that you are. And so it makes me wonder if there are aspects of his personality that aren't fully developed, if maybe he doesn't have as much self-awareness as you do, because he really doesn't seem to have alternatives to any of this either. So if you were to say, I want all these things, I feel all these things, I see this future for us, and he were to be like, yeah, okay, I could do that. If you were to ask him, okay, well, that doesn't seem authentic. What do you want in life? He doesn't know. There's kind of nothing there. I don't know. I don't know. So, if you want to steer the ship, I think he'll come along for the ride. If you don't want to steer the ship, you want a co-captain, you're gonna need to look elsewhere. Okay. And I think that what you're going to be finding through this relationship with him is that you understand that somebody can have all of this really great potential, right? Where they are bringing to the table so many of the things that you want or that you're attracted to or that you see as valuable, but they're kind of missing that fire in the belly. And that fire in the belly has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with other love partners. It has to do with the way they don't bother to connect to themselves. Okay. There's no fire in the belly for life. And so that's a different show. Okay. But yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to another question here from I just want to invite you guys, if you are tuning in late, this is Get a Grip on your love life and relationships of any kind. $5 gets you the short answer. $10 gets you the longer answer. And you can do your donation above or below in the description box, depending on where you're tuning in, or you can go over here to YouTube at Ask Ivy and do it all in one place. All right, we have one from an Amanda Y. This is $10. And she wants to know, Carrie is my partner, is a Libra. Just want to know, is this relationship shady going on? Is there something shady in the relationship? Okay, between Carrie and Amanda. Is there something shady going on in the relationship? I think that there's some dishonesty coming up here to the future, and I don't feel that it's coming from a place of like miscommunication or confusion, or like, we don't want to hold the person accountable because they didn't, have all of the information. No, I feel, and I'm validating for you, that there is some type of trust issue that you should probably be having, because over here to the future, some information is going to come to the surface. Some masks are going to come off. Okay, some truths are going to be revealed, and when that happens, I feel like you're going to understand more of what it is that you're asking today and what it is that you've been feeling. I even go back about 6 months with this relationship dynamic, let's say, where you're trying to figure out why things are happening the way that they are, in particular why it is that you feel the way that you do. And I think one of the really important things for you to understand, let's look at this, why is this happening, what's the bigger picture in this relationship? Okay, every relationship is meant to teach us something, or some things even. What are you supposed to be learning about this? You're supposed to be learning the difference between fear, okay, which is ego, fear, manipulation, and control, and your intuition. So we can be fearful about something and we can say, oh, my gut told me it's this, something's going on. No, not necessarily. That could be old, crusty, dusty fear, okay, just coming in and burdening you and stunting your growth. Intuition, on the other hand, your gut is telling you that something is going on. And whether you've had, experience with that in the past or not, it doesn't change the fact that it's true, that it's real, and energy never lies. So I think that you're supposed to be mastering the skill of understanding the difference between fear and your gut instinct. And your gut is telling you that there are some red flags. These areas are going to end up being more like aha moments in the future when you get additional information, and less like huge tower moments where your whole life is crashing down. And I think that's really what you need to focus on right now, is that you can be confident in yourself. You can be confident in your ability to decipher between your past trust issues and when someone's actually feeding you some bullshit. And you can say, I am going to have my guard up. I am not going to share the information that I'm feeling and receiving from my intuition. I am simply going to take notes and I'm going to observe. And then you're going to decide how to use that information wisely to protect yourself. The confidence that you can gain from doing this is immeasurable, all right, and lifelong. So it's of tremendous value. But yeah, there's some stuff going on. All right, so we are going to move on to another question here from Mel. This is a $5 question. And she wants to know, is Nick regretting being married? Is Nick regretting being married? Well, I think so, but not necessarily in the way that you're feeling it. You're feeling it like, is this person regretting marrying me because I am somehow not up to this person's standards, or this whole situation is a disappointment because it's with me? And I feel like, no. What this individual is regretting is the amount of work that comes along with being committed to anybody. And the lack of acceptance over the reality that when we get involved in a relationship like this, that is a long-term commitment, that it is going to push any unfinished work, shadow work, trauma, past life trauma, childhood trauma, all of this stuff that hasn't been resolved is going to come up to the surface. And that's the beauty of relationships. This is why a lot of people don't like getting involved in relationships. Okay. That's why a lot of people just like to stay out there free floating. Part of the reason is not because they don't necessarily want love, but because they don't want to do that work. And we have to be careful when we commit to something with somebody else, because it is in the relationship contract where we do so much self-healing and growth, and it can be dark and scary and a long, dirty journey. And it doesn't happen when we're dealing with our friends. It doesn't happen when we're dealing with our family. It doesn't happen when we're dealing with acquaintances or coworkers. It happens in love partnerships that are committed. And that is a tough call. I think she had no clue what she was getting into. And this has nothing to do with you. So your support in it is actually significant. And I think that what you should be saying to yourself is, I love me. I'm amazing. I'm an amazing, supportive partner in love. And I can only do my job, but I will not leave my lane. I will not cross a boundary, and I will not overreach to be with anybody, because I know my value and my worth. Okay. So she's got her stuff to do. You've got your stuff to do. Keep it separate in order to keep it together. All right. We're going to move on to another one. We are at time. All right. Perfect. All right, you guys, I will see you for Get a Grip here with Christina Del Rey. That's going to be our next love show. I don't know if we have the date on that. Thank you so much. So that's going to be January 25th. I will be back here next Wednesday for Ask Ivy, where I take all of your questions and I deliver messages from Spirit on anything. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, back here on all these platforms. The next Get a Grip I'll be doing the following Wednesday is going to be on money, business, and investments. So get a grip on your finances and what you're doing with things there. Very exciting. All right. Thanks, Jill, my beautiful producer. And everyone for the donations. Thank you, Spirit. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.